Assad is gone, and I am not one of those people who worry about who's going to replace him. Assad murdered 500,000 of his own people, more than 12 million Syrians displaced internally or externally, more than 2 million permanently fled the country during the civil war, which began in 2011 and is still going on, as far as I can tell. But Assad finally is gone. And it happened, it had begun to happen on Friday. We were watching the march from the Turkish border to Aleppo, to Hama, to Homs, and then it was going to end up in Damascus. And it did end up in Damascus. And so today we are treated to legacy media telling us the 11-day blitz by Syrian rebels that ended 50 years of Assad rule. That's true. That's in the Wall Street Journal. In the BBC, as Syria's notorious prisons empty, families search for the missing. That's true. Photos show people ransacking Assad's private home. That's true. That happened. How Bashar Assad's regime crumbled. That's in the Financial Times. It's another big story. Over at Fox News, or excuse me, this is from the BBC. From Syrian jihadist leader to rebel politician, how Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani reinvented himself. He's got a different name now. Reports of people trapped in underground at the notorious prison. That's all true. Every bit of it. Also, Israel's moved into a bit of the Syrian side of the Golan Heights to make sure that we don't have jihadis up in the mountains shooting down at Israel. And Hamas and Israel are exchanging names as that deal gets closer. But what don't we see? What is the dog that didn't bark in this story? And it's the same dog that didn't bark in every story forever. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming. Team Biden, Cracker Jack, Tony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Lloyd Austin, the vice president and the president, not one word from anyone that Netanyahu's war, Israel's war against Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, had significantly weakened the ability of Hezbollah and Iran, and at the same time Russia, to assist their longtime puppet in Syria, the butcher of Damascus, Bashar Assad. And like his father before him, he's just an evil man. He's taken refuge in Russia, and he'll never see the outside of Russia again. He'll be picked up and immediately dispatched to Syria for trial and execution like Saddam Hussein. The man has got so much blood on his hands and so much torture. And the regime, it's not going to be a violence-free handover to a new group because, A, there are 5 groups, one of which is ISIS. I'm not sure if Jawlani is an al-Qaeda affiliate anymore. He was originally an ISIS affiliate, then he became an al-Qaeda affiliate under the name of al-Nusra. Then he changed it again to HTS, and then he changed his own name. Who knows? I don't know. Syria is full of weapons and different groups. I am reminded of the life of Brian, and I don't mean to make light of the fact that a bloody dictator has fallen. That's good news. But there isn't a coherent group in charge of Syria. I do think the Islamists have control of Damascus, Homs, Hama, Aleppo, but there's a whole bunch of that country that they don't have control of. Turkey's got its own people. The United States is backing the Kurds, as we always do. There's a small group nearer to the Israeli-Jordan border than all the other groups. And, of course, the Russians are still there in their airfield and their naval base. But they've been backing, I don't know how long they get to stay. Seriously, the Russians have been dropping barrel bombs on Syrian civilians for more than a decade. I don't think a new regime is going to simply turn around and say, good on you, why don't we work with you? Iran's out of money, out of people. Hezbollah got blown up by the pagers by 2 months of war with Israel. There's not much left of Hezbollah. They still have some weapons. They're not, I'll talk with Dr. Michael Oren later today, they're not without bite. But the key thing, Syria is for the moment free of a ghastly dictator. People are coming out of jail who you have never expected to see again. People who have been in jail for 40 years are coming out. One guy beat Bashar's brother in fencing, and he went to jail for 50 years. because the old man was just as terrible a human being as the kid.